What if failure wasn't a flaw? What if it was the beginning of something better? Think about the moments that broke you, the rejection letter, the job you didn't get, the relationship that ended, the time you gave it everything and still fell short. We're told to see those as dead ends. But what if they were ignition points? Right now, deep inside your brain, there's a fire that lights when you fall, a powerful chemical reaction that can rewire your mind for resilience, grit, and growth. Most people never learn how to use it, but you will. Let's explore how your setbacks, your struggles, your so-called failures are not the ends of your story, but the very fuel that builds your comeback. We grow up believing that purpose strikes like lightning, that one day we'll wake up inspired, driven, and perfectly clear on who we're meant to be. Until then, we wait. We scroll. We compare. We chase that spark we think everyone else has. And slowly, we start to wonder if there's something wrong with us. But here's what no one tells you. You don't need more inspiration. You need movement. Look, motivation doesn't come before action. It's born from action. Your brain's reward chemical, dopamine, isn't released while you sit and wait. It's released when you do something, anything, one decision, one tiny step, one act of effort. Even when you don't feel like it, it begins the feedback loop your brain needs to ignite momentum. Waiting for motivation to show up is like standing in a cold room, hoping you feel warm before you light the fire. You don't wait to feel ready. You act to feel alive. When things fall apart, your nervous system sends out the alarm. Your body tightens. Your thoughts race. You want to hide. That reaction is human, but it's not the whole story. Because right beneath the surface of that stress is a miracle of biology, neuroplasticity. Look, your brain isn't a fixed machine. It's alive, moldable, adaptive. And it doesn't grow when things are easy. It grows when you struggle and lean back in. Setbacks trigger the release of BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a protein that helps your brain grow new neurons and strengthen connections between them. Think of it as your brain's growth fertilizer, but it only activates if you stay engaged. If you numb out, complain, quit, you miss the moment your brain was made for. Every time you fall and get back up, your brain rewires to be more focused, more creative, more resilient. Failure is feedback. Not that you're broken, but that something new is ready to be built. Here's where most people go wrong. They think failing automatically makes them stronger. It doesn't. Failing only creates growth if you choose to engage with it. If you avoid it, and your brain closes the loop with shame. But if you reflect, reset, and then re-enter, and your brain starts laying down a whole new identity. It's like muscle growth. Lifting the weights breaks the muscle down. But it's the recovery, the nutrition, the repetition that builds strength. Same with your mind. Failure breaks your old pattern, but your next step, the one where you try again, is what builds the new one. So how do you actually do this? You train your mind to think in loops, not lines. Most people think in straight lines. Something bad happened. I failed. That's it. But a growth-trained brain thinks in loops. Something hard happened. So I reflect. I try again. Something different. And I grow. Here's a simple loop you can use right now. You say, what just happened? Don't sugarcoat it. Be honest and get specific. Your next thought should be, what can I learn from it? Not in a vague way. What exactly was the signal? What will I do differently the next time? Choose one small adjustment and make it actionable. Because when you do this consistently, your brain stops seeing failure as a threat and starts coding it as a challenge. This shift reduces emotional reactivity. It builds emotional regulation. And it creates a foundation of self-trust. You're no longer the person who gets knocked down and stays down. You're the one who recalibrates and rises. Let's get real. When you're in the thick of a setback, when everything feels heavy, uncertain, or like it's slipping through your fingers, it's hard to believe your brain is working for you. But it is. This is the moment where most people either lean in or check out. You've got two choices. You can engage with the discomfort and harness it, or you can escape into distraction, self-pity, or denial. But if you can pause, even just briefly, and meet that tension with curiosity instead of avoidance, something powerful happens. You shift from emotional reactivity to intentional rewiring. Your brain has three key players in this comeback process. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It helps your brain grow new neurons and strengthens learning. It's released during struggle and effort. Dopamine, it rewards progress, not perfection. It gives you the making progress feeling that keeps you going. And cortisol, your stress hormone. In small amounts, it gives focus. But if unmanaged, it floods your system and clouds your judgment. Here's how to use them. When you take a small, uncomfortable action, like initiating a hard conversation or finishing a task you've avoided, BDNF gets triggered. That's your brain saying, we're growing. When you break big goals into micro actions and celebrate tiny wins, dopamine starts to flow. That's momentum. And when you practice even a few minutes of breath work, walking, or silence, you regulate cortisol so stress doesn't hijack your system. This isn't about becoming some productivity machine. This is about building a mind that responds instead of reacts, a brain that serves you instead of sabotaging you. With intention, every setback becomes a training ground. Let's simplify this on how to apply this in real life. You don't need a 3-hour morning routine. You need 3 small reps that train your nervous system daily. Picture a challenge coming your way. See yourself facing it calmly with power. Then breathe deeply for 2 minutes. That's enough to lower cortisol and create clarity. Do a midday reset. Choose one micro task you've been avoiding. Just one, and do it. The dopamine hit from completing it will fuel your next move. And then do an evening reflection. Ask yourself, where did I show up today? And where did I hold back? And what will I do differently tomorrow? You're not aiming for perfect days. You're just stacking meaningful reps. And over time, these compounds into belief. And belief changes everything. So you don't need to pretend you're fearless. You just need to stop backing down. Failure isn't the end of your story. It's your body and brain calling you into your next evolution. This is your wake up. The brain that makes you overthink, doubt, procrastinate, it can be rewired by you starting now. So here's your move. Drop a comment. What failure taught you something you'll never forget? Like this video if it gave you the slightest bit of clarity. Subscribe to Mind Hackers for more real tools to rebuild yourself from the inside out. Your setbacks aren't shameful. They're sacred. They're not your limits. They're your launch pads. This is your brain on fire.